It's another fantastic day with the Everyday English Hub. I'm Leo, not the zodiac sign, and beside me is Mia, our serene co-host.
Hi everyone. I hope you enjoy tuning into our discussion. Today's episode of Everyday English Hub focuses on something really crucial for learning English. Can you guess what it is? Leo?
How about listening?
Not quite. But it's definitely related to listening.
Let me think for a moment.
Here's a hint: to listen well in English, you need a solid vocabulary.
Oh, I know. Is it vocabulary?
Exactly. We understand that many listeners find it challenging to build their vocabulary. In today's episode, we'll share some simple yet effective tips for learning new words.
And guess what? Are you ready to dive in?
Let's get started.
If you've been learning English for a while, you might wonder, why is it so hard to learn new words?
That's actually a common concern among English beginners. One major reason is that many people just memorize words, thinking, I'll learn a bunch of words quickly. But the problem is, if you don't use them, you'll forget them.
Exactly. Some people also feel shy or afraid to use new words. They worry about making mistakes, so they hold back.
Plus, some learners feel stuck using the same words repeatedly, often because they focus too much on grammar while neglecting vocabulary practice.
Not knowing enough words can be a real issue in everyday life. Imagine traveling abroad and wanting to order food, but you can't understand the menu.
That's definitely frustrating, maybe even embarrassing.
Yes, or picture yourself in a work meeting where everyone is speaking quickly, using business jargon you don't understand. That can make you feel anxious or hesitant to speak up. It's completely normal to feel uncertain when you lack the right words.
Absolutely. In our next segment, we'll share some straightforward tips to help you boost your vocabulary.
First, start with what you already know. Learning new words is tough, but it becomes easier if you build on what you're familiar with.
Exactly. Begin with words you know and gradually expand your vocabulary. For instance, if you already know the word happy, you can easily add similar words like joyful and cheerful.
This way, you're connecting new words to concepts you already understand. It's like a building with blocks. The more you add, the sturdier your vocabulary becomes. Plus, it helps you use the words in the right situations.
So, always start with what you know and expand slowly.
Next tip. Read more often. Reading is one of the best ways to enhance your vocabulary.
Yes. And you don't need to tackle difficult books. Choose materials that match your level, so you don't feel overwhelmed. It could be anything from short stories to news articles or blog posts.
Just set aside 10 minutes a day for reading. This small habit can lead to significant improvements. You'll encounter new words in context and see how they're used.
And remember to write down any new words you come across. You can look them up later and try using them in your own sentences. Now, here's another vital tip: learn words in context. Memorizing a list of words can be challenging, but when you learn them in context, it's much easier to remember and use them correctly.
What do we mean by context?
Context refers to learning words as they appear in situations or stories. For example, if you're reading a cooking story, you might learn words like stir, chop and boil, all of which relate to cooking.
Instead of just memorizing the word boil on its own, you see it in a sentence like, she boiled water to make pasta. Now, you understand its meaning and usage.
Exactly. Learning in context provides a fuller understanding of a word, not just its definition. You see how it fits into real-life situations.
And don't stop at reading. Watch conversation videos or listen to podcasts. These resources help you hear how words are used in genuine conversations.
Plus, follow along with transcripts. It's easier to learn a word when you hear it and see it written simultaneously.
Let's go through some vocabulary relevant to today's topic. Expand, meaning to make something larger or grow. Example, reading books can expand your vocabulary. News article, meaning a piece of writing in a newspaper, magazine, or website about current events. Example, I am reading a news article about animals in Africa. Situation. Meaning. The state of things at a particular time or place, what is happening. Example. In a crowded situation, you should speak clearly. Look something up. Meaning. To search for information about something. Example. If you don't know a word, look it up in the dictionary. Mimic. Meaning. To imitate how someone else speaks or acts. Example. She mimics her teacher to practice English pronunciation. Why is it important to learn vocabulary in context?
Learning vocabulary in context gives you a word's personality. It helps you understand how the word fits into different scenarios, making it easier to remember and use it correctly, just like you remember a friend's habits.
How can speaking English help you practice and learn new words?
Speaking English reinforces new words because you use them in real-life situations. Plus, you receive feedback from others, which helps you correct mistakes and learn better.
Using flashcards in apps is another effective way to learn new words. Flashcards are simple yet powerful tools. Write the new word on one side and its meaning on the other. Then test yourself.
For instance, if you're learning the word excited, you'd write excited on one side and feeling happy and full of energy on the other.
If you enjoy technology, there are excellent vocabulary apps like Anki and Quizlet. These apps make learning more enjoyable with games and quizzes, so you don't get bored.
Absolutely. Apps allow you to learn anytime and anywhere, whether you're on the bus, during lunch, or before bed. Let's review some more vocabulary relevant to today's topic. Actively meaning, doing something with a lot of energy and effort. Example, she listens actively in class to understand everything better. Memorize meaning, to learn something so you can recall it without looking. Example, he tries to memorize the lyrics of his favorite song. Mistakes meaning, errors made in the wrong way. Example, my friend made a few mistakes on her test. Journal meaning, a notebook where people write their thoughts, ideas, or daily events. Example, Jake writes in his journal every evening about his day. Review meaning, to look at something again to remember or check it. Example, she reviewed her notes before the test. Why is it important to use new words and sentences when learning them?
It helps you grasp their meanings and usage. Practicing new words in your writing increases the likelihood that you'll remember them later.
How does keeping a journal help with remembering new words?
A journal is a space to jot down new words, their meanings, and examples. Writing them down and reviewing them enhances your learning.
Building your vocabulary is a journey. But with these tips, it doesn't have to be daunting.
Exactly. Just a bit of effort each day can lead to significant improvements over time. We hope these tips help you enhance your vocabulary.
Don't forget to check out the vocabulary and tips in the description or comments. Thanks for joining us.